Well, the pandemic has left a lot of people unemployed and in some cases heading back to school. Our Julia Smith met with a local college to see how the pandemic has affected their enrollment.
Drake State Community and Technical College has seen their enrollment go up by more than 20% because people are going back to school to get certified in jobs that are in demand because of the pandemic. For years, enrollment at Drake State has been steadily increasing, but saw a spike in demand for these three courses: health sciences, cosmetology, and computer sciences. According to the college, people are going back to school to have careers in these fields because they are guaranteed a job.
The lockdown happened. Their spouses, their partners, their parents, they lost their jobs.
The school has seen a high demand for certified assistant nursing and certified medication assistant programs after a shortage of staff in Alabama hospitals pushed the state to allow these licenses. And with self-care being a major topic during the pandemic, more people are getting into the beauty industry. In fact, the program has doubled its enrollment.
You see it all over social media about, how hair care, personal care, those kind of things. Kind of when you're in lockdown, they have deteriorated, and with the guidelines, with the lockdowns and everything easing, there is an increased demand.
And like cosmetology, the computer science programs have seen an increase because people can work from home.
This is the kind of job that you can do remotely. You can do it at any location, so that also makes it a very convenient option.
It may be hard for someone to change their career, but schools like Drake State help people get these credentials in weeks, or in Raymond's words, fast and cheap. Putting the Valley first, Julia Smith, WZDX News.